B-Mac, we have fallout for the Gigantes. Now, this is after their safety, Landon Collins, and, well, he called his teammate Eli Apple a cancer. Now, since then, Collins has apologized for those comments, but there are ramifications because the Giants have stepped in. They've suspended Apple for this Sunday's final game of the year against the Redskins due to conduct detrimental to the team. Brian McFadden, they don't have a head coach. This is coming from high above. What is going on with the New York Football Giants? Do you approve of this method of dealing with Eli Apple?
I mean, what did he do recently for him to be suspended? Because clearly this has been a pattern, right?
Detrimental to the
team. For
the
majority of the season, because we saw Janoris Jenkins, he received the suspension. We saw DRC, Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, he was suspended throughout the year. And now it seems, based on what we heard from Landon, those two guys were not the issue.
No.
The issue was Apple. And what I'm hearing, from inside is that he's been dealing with a lot as far as family issues. And clearly those issues that he's going through with his family has been able to get inside the facility and affect his play and also his behavior in the building.
You and I, on draft night a couple of years ago, were right there front and center with Eli Apple, okay? You mentioned the family. Mom was with them on draft night.
She seemed to be very, very much involved at that time.
My question is how does that seep over? Look, you won 2 Super Bowls. You're in the league for 8 years. I'm sure every day of your life wasn't rosy, and you had outside things that could have interfered with your professional play. Isn't it I'm not saying it's simple, but isn't it as kind of elementary that Eli Apple, check your personal issues at the door and go do your job?
Well, the thing is, Dave, you have to look at it from this standpoint. Eli Apple is extremely young, right? And when you talk about young players, young kids that are very, very attached to their family or their parents, it's hard to separate the two. And we saw how close he was to his mom. And also, with that being said, I believe he was extremely close to his family.
Yeah.
And where there are issues in the family, he probably could not separate the two. And being so young, when you're away from your family, you're in a big city. And clearly he was not close to his teammates. So when you're at home solo, alone, by yourself, it's hard to really be able to separate the two, recharge your battery, and understand and know, I can't allow this to affect the business, which is playing for the New York Football Giants.
This is a top 10 pick out of Ohio State from a couple of years ago. Is this the ultimate wake-up call?
It should be.
If he doesn't get this,
it should be.
Will he ever get it?
It should be, too, because also he has to have the support of his teammates, and clearly he does not, based on a player coming out on record and basically calling him out without calling his name. They are fed up with his behavior, and not to mention his play has not been up to par. It's one thing if you're balling and still your behavior can be a bit erotic at times. But if you're playing inconsistent and your behavior has been trash, we can't handle and have that.
The Giants season just goes from worse to worse to even worse.
Well, at least they only have 1 game left.
Yeah, then it's finally over.